Hello, hello, everybody. Looks like we're live. Greetings. Hello. Oh, look at all you guys already jumping on. Good to see you guys here. Let me know in the chat if you can see and hear me okay. Let's I hate fussing with this every time that that we go live, but I have to make sure you guys can hear me because it looks like it's very low. All right. Let me expand that a little bit. Okay, hello, hello, everybody. It's so nice to see you guys here. Welcome. If you're catching this for the first time, welcome to the channel. It's good to have you here. And for those of you who are returning, all my favorites, all my members, it is so nice to see you here. So tonight I'll start always with a little bit of housekeeping. So if you're watching this on the replay, you can always scroll ahead a minute or two, no big deal. And unless you want to see some of the housekeeping notes. Hello, everybody. Hi, Kimberly. How are you? Yeah, Kimberly, we have a very special reading this evening for little Toby. And Sharon, good to see you. Can't access the video. Sharon, I will get it to you, I promise. I have not had a chance to change the setting. For those of you who do private readings, I record them. And then I will send you the recording so that you can have it to look at all the different, to revisit it and to spend more time with it. But I must have, Sharon, I cannot, the only thing I can imagine is that I hit private instead of unlisted. So you won't be able to access it. Private would be just for me, but don't worry, I will take care of that for you, I promise. And hello, Caroline, good to see you. Kim, good to see you as well. Sherry, good to see you. Nice to see all of you. Okay, giving shouts out, and I'll continue to say hello to everybody as they jump on. Housekeeping, the very first thing I got, so I'm wearing the racerback flowy shirt, whatever that is. So this is one of my favorites from the store. And I got my crossbody bag. So this one is in the charcoal gray. And I am just in love with it. So for those of you who want to know, anybody who likes bags the way I do, I love to have all the secret compartments. So you got a compartment in the front, you got a compartment inside. There's a little place for your keys. There's another compartment inside there besides the main compartment. Plus you got a little compartment in the back. So yeah, this is like the perfect bag for me to take on a hike, to do anything. I love it. So anyhow, that's just because I'm silly about bags. No worries. Okay, let's see what else. And Miss None Your Business, how you doing? Good to see you as well. Donna, hello, it's good to see you. And Becky, very nice to see you as well. New to the channel, you are very welcome to be here. For those of you who are watching this for the very first time, I know that a lot of people are very personal and very private. They don't like to engage in the chat, but feel free. You can just say hello in the chat if you want to. You can share your animal companion's name if you want to, anything at all. All the members of this channel are really super supportive of each other. And we're all here for the same reason. We're all here because we have had pets that have been soulmates, that have crossed to the other side, that for one reason or another have left us feeling traumatized, grief-stricken, feeling regrets, all kinds of things. We go through all of those feelings and we help raise each other up. For those of you who are new, most of you have heard of my Jack and Lucy and Winston before. They were all seniors, so logical mind knew exactly what was going to happen. They were all about the same age, but when Lucy and Jack, they were the ones that lived. They spent their whole lives together. Lucy and Winston crossed within a week of each other, and then it was within the same year that Jack crossed. So that's when the doors opened for me to begin sharing these messages, and I'm going to talk about that in just a second. So we are all here to support each other. We completely understand there is no judgment on this channel, and no matter how sad you feel, or if you've started to feel the healing, share that too, because that's what we're all about. We're here to support each other, celebrate the lives that we got to spend with our animal companions, and learn how we are still connected with them. That is beyond lifting us up past the grief and sadness and regret and remorse. We are here to discover, I know from Lucy, that our animal companions are coming through to us from the other side of the veil, the other side of life. The words don't do it justice for where they are because they're right next to you. Their energy has not gone anywhere. It's right with you. It's part of you. And they are teaching us that there is nothing to fear. They're teaching us that just because they cross before us does not mean we have lost them, does not mean we will never be in touch with them again, does not mean that we still can't have a relationship with them. That is really the most amazing part of the things that we are beginning to discover. And that is part of the topic we're going to talk about tonight. Tonight, we're going to be talking about, and this was from one of the channel members who prefers to be nice and private and quiet. You don't have to participate in the chat. But if you do, you're welcome to, who suggested that we talk about the signs we see from our animals in nature. And the more I started to explore the signs, the more I realized, oh my gosh, there are so many ways that our animal companions reach us. I also started to say, for those who may be watching this the very first time, I did start to explain about my Jack and Lucy and Winston, and they are the ones who encouraged me to begin this channel and to begin these videos. And it was Lucy who really, really came through instantly from the other side. And tonight, when we do the reading for Angel, I will share a little bit more about Lucy's crossing. And I now identify myself as a psychic medium for pets. It's very hard for me to say those words. I am not someone who is seeking any kind of fame from this. I have never sought out to be that. And somehow it just happened. I'm an animal Reiki master, and learning how to quiet my mind and open my heart for healing practices with pets here on this earth is what helped me transition into working with pets who were transitioning. And then once they got to the other side, they became this beautiful collective of souls who share so much information with me and then let me know just how much we are connected and that I can contact them on your behalf until you feel comfortable enough reaching out to them on your own, which is also my goal, because I think we all have this ability. And I am happy that I can be the voice for them right now, but I can't wait till the day when I start reading all the comments that tell me the connections that you've made, like I know Sherry has been able to make. Okay, I am going to look at comments. Hi, Mimi, how are you? I'm just going to see if there's anything. Jess, good to see you. Kathy, who else do we have here that I haven't said hello to yet? The comments are scrolling by really fast, so hello, hello, hello. Normally, when I do these live streams, we're giving everybody a chance to jump onto. I like to give it like a good 5 minutes, and we're past that now. Normally, when I start these live streams, I try not to look at the comments until the end because it's distracting. And if you're watching it on the replay, it's very distracting to watch the interaction back and forth. I get it. But I enjoy that interaction. And there are some people who really do enjoy the interaction back and forth as well. Tonight is going to be a little different because I want the interaction. As I talk about, and you guys can bring up even more, as I talk about the things that I thought of for the ways that nature connects us with our animal companions on the other side, the signs that they send through nature. So many things came up, and I would love to know signs that you might have received. I would love to know from you guys what kind of signs you might have received, especially as we start talking about this. And then at the end, we'll do the readings for Toby and Angel. Okay. The other last thing is next week, especially for those of you for those of you in the US, you know what exactly I'm talking about. For those in the UK and other European countries and Australia and New Zealand, next weekend is in the US, the unofficial start of summer. So it's Memorial Day weekend. And it is what you guys would call in Europe and the UK, a bank holiday. Monday's a bank holiday. So I don't think I'm going to go live next Monday, but what I will do is a pre-recorded message, and it'll be the same thing. We'll pick a topic and I'll share a topic and then do readings as well. But I don't think it's going to be live next week because it is a holiday weekend, and I'd like to kick off the summer. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Hello, Toby's daddy. Oh, good to see you too. And Casa de Paz. Oh, well, we lost your message there, but that's okay. And I'd like to find out how my rabbit Lolo died. Can you help us? Casa, yeah. So if you would like for me to make a connection with your animal companion, you want to send an email to read for my pet, READ, the number 4, my pet, @gmail.com. And I am slowly but surely getting caught up, but it's still taking me some time. So I think that there may be a second video, like a second per week, some readings that I do. And I don't know that they'll be live. They would be pre-recorded, but I don't want to get too far behind. And every single week, I just open more and more emails. And you guys know, I mean, it's just me, myself, and I. And this took off in a way that I had no way of anticipating. I suspected that people would like some assistance with overcoming grief and being able to connect with their animal companions, but I truly had no idea just how many people, and there's a reason for this too, just how many people were so not just so sad and so mired down in the grief, but who really wanted to make the connection and to know that their animal companion is still with them. And that's part of the message that comes through what I call the animal collective. All of these beautiful souls that I have been able to connect with over the past 18 months to 2 years. And actually Lucy crossed in 2020. And I slyly, secretly started doing this, but I didn't tell anybody because I didn't want people to think that I was crazy. I didn't want them to think I was nuts. And now, especially after all the validation I get from you guys, I welcome being able to connect with your animal companions, and I thank you for it. Okay, so let's start talking about tonight's topic, and that is signs that we receive from our animal companions. You know that I am one, there's not even any convincing, there's nothing. I am 100% certain, there's not a speck of doubt left anymore, 100% certain that our animal companions are reaching out to us all the time. And it's not just once or twice. And it's not, okay, you didn't see that sign, so I'm giving up on you. They are your animal companion. They have been a part of your life since before they incarnated and before you incarnated, during your life together here and after they crossed. And more than anything, they want you to remember and know that you have, there's some words out there that I think are overused, like soul contract. And I don't like that word at all, contract, that you have agreements about the things that are going to happen in your life and the incarnation that you're going to live, except that doesn't take into account free will and all the things that you experience here on beautiful planet Earth. But you are linked together always. And sometimes you trade places and sometimes you take different forms. But they are always with you, and they are always sending signs, or sometimes it's no longer signs. Once you start to receive the signs, it's more like a continued relationship. It's about continuing your relationship by being able to connect with them through these kinds of signs. And then you get to the point where you can just talk to them. Like I talk to Lucy and Jack and Winston. It's interesting, Winston, not as much anymore. Winston is the one who sends me feathers all the time. And when I go into a meditation, which I like to do because it quiets my mind, turns off all the external, silly human stressors that we put around ourselves, and I drop into my heart, I just fill myself with love. And sometimes I ask one of them, sometimes I ask all three of them, just to come and spend some time with me. And if there's messages, if there's things that maybe I'm supposed to know. And Winston always shows me where he is, which is his version of heaven. And his version of heaven is running on a beach chasing birds. He was deaf here, completely deaf here on planet Earth. And he was small. He was a small dog, and he rarely noticed birds. But when he did, he would just chase them, crazy chase them. And he shows me a picture of himself on a beach, just running and chasing the little birds on the beach and jumping and barking and having a grand old time. And he always looks back at me. He's always running forward. He always looks back at me. And then when I come out of my meditation, without fail, I will walk down the street and there will be a feather. I have got two. I'm just looking across my room. Two big vases and at least 2 boxes filled with feathers. And they're all from Winston. So those are the kinds of things we're going to talk about tonight, that you can ask your animal companion to send you signs. And even if you think that you've been asking for a long time and haven't seen them, it just takes a little bit of tweaking, just takes a little bit of change in your mindset, and thinking about how they can actually get through to us, because they don't have a little physical body, and they really don't come back too often as ghosts, the way that we have been culturally trained to think of ghosts. But their energy is still here, and they find ways to get through to us. So I'm going to check comments from time to time. And if anybody has any comments about how we see signs, how you start to see them, what it means to quiet your mind, what it means to open your heart, how to meditate, all of those things. I will cover them all because I was none of them. I was none of them. I was the type A corporate control freak. And I was insensitive, even though I had dogs of my own, they were my pets. I was like the total, I was like the Ebenezer Scrooge of corporate. And then animals have completely changed my life, completely changed my life. So I'm happy to share anything and everything that I can with you because I taught myself how to meditate. I taught myself how to make the connections, and I taught myself to trust and believe. And once you do that, they're always with you. Okay, comments. Feel I got a sign after my beagle died. So Becky, what I want to share with all of you guys. Oh, Winston, I know Winston was my soulmate. He only with me for 2.5 years, but he went with me everywhere. But I digress. Becky, I feel I got a sign after my beagle died. As an animal Reiki master, I also identify myself as an animal chaplain. I help families or individuals prepare for and cope with their animal companions transition. So I take care of all the details. I do everything from making all the arrangements, if that's what they want. But I can be there like by their side. So all of the animals, all of my clients, I tell them this right away. The first thing you want to do is look for the sign immediately. It's going to be immediate. They send a sign instantly from the other side. Angel, who's one of the dogs that we're going to do a reading for tonight, did the same thing as Lucy. Angel crossed in her human papa's arms and felt human papa felt Angel just flow right through him. And the same thing happened with Lucy. Completely unexpected. I had not ever been through the loss of an animal companion before Lucy. And Lucy's head was in my lap. There was actually 4 of us lined up, and Lucy was laying across all 4 of us. She was a big black lab, and she took only one breath. And I've been through accompanying animals at end of life. I've seen just about every kind of transition that there is. And Lucy's was so unique because she took only one breath. She took one enormous breath. It was a very big breath. Her whole body filled up, and then she released it. And when she released this one breath, all 4 of us felt it. She passed not through, she passed into us. I didn't feel her like come out the other side. I felt her become part of me. I even feel that now. Like she's just part of me. She's in part. I touch my heart, but it's every part of my being I feel her in. And even the veterinarian, who is not on the woo-woo side like I am now, it just blurted out, "Did you feel that?" And yeah, did I feel that? How could you not feel it? So that is that they send a sign right away. I took that as Lucy's sign immediately, even though more signs came after that. And do they stop? They don't stop. They keep on because it's a continued relationship. So if you believe you got a sign as soon as your animal companion passed, you did, because that's how it works. Kim says she started to hear ringing in my left ear when I asked my fur babies to give me insight. That is one of the ways that we know they're trying to connect with us. It's different for everybody, but they like to use our senses because we have our senses, not only to be physically tactile here on Earth, but to use our senses to understand the energetic field that's all around us. And you can tell me that it sounds hairy-fairy. I love the word hairy-fairy because it's about pets and our little fur babies. You can tell me it sounds hairy-fairy, but go look into quantum physics and what they now call the field. And it's that everything is energy, and even the empty space that you think you see nothing, it's full of energy. And our animal companions transition into that energy. One of the ways that they get through to us is by giving that high-pitched ring in your ears. Now, some people like me, I have a lifetime of tinnitus or tinnitus. So there's always a low-level hum in my ears that I'm so used to now because I've had it my whole life before it was a thing. But I get that it's a very unique high pitch. I think most of you know what that is. And sometimes it's in both ears, but usually it's one or the other. And right now I know that if I'm in a place where I can stop, we talked about automatic writing last week. If I'm in a place and I get that high pitched ringing, I recognize that as a message coming through. And I often will say, okay, you're going a little too fast for me. That high pitch is more than my brain knows how to process. Can you slow down so that I can write the message that you want to send to me? And then the more you work at this, you can ask your animal companion to bring you that high pitched sound. You can say, anytime that you would like to get in touch with me, if you would please let me hear that ringing in my right ear. And you can ask, and because it's not only possible, it just is. It's the way that it works now that you have a relationship with your animal on the other side of life. Okay, let me just look at a quick couple comments. And woke up from a nightmare. Felt my girl lay across your legs. We're going to talk about the feeling of animals, and that's part of it. I feel when Lucy jumps on the bed, you know it, because she was a big girl, and you can tell when Lucy jumps on the bed. I've also had a cat. I can't remember whose cat it is. We think it is. I think it's Jody's cat, but whatever. There's a cat that jumped on my bed, and I don't have cats. Cat clearly jumped on me and startled me. But anyhow, Joe says, I felt Toby pass through me. Do still feel him whenever I think about him. I'll have to look at my notes, because what I wrote down about it might have been Toby who. Oh, it is. It is Toby. It was you, Joe, that I wrote felt him pass through. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. So let's talk about some of the signs that we get in nature. Our connection to nature is so profound, and we take it for granted. And we just, when I see people mowing their lawn or pulling the weeds, or we walk past, we step on the grass or whatever, it doesn't, we see there's rocks and there's dirt and there's water and there's creeks and there's streams and there's oceans, and we take nature first. And there's birds that fly and there's squirrels that eat the bird seed. And if you live in the mountains like me, then there's bears that eat the bird seed. And we take it often for granted. And if we take the time to slow down and really look at nature, we can find incredible signs. So I came up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 7. I guess they're broad categories of ways that we can make connections with animals and nature, but I would love to hear from you guys too. So the first one is a fun one: animal encounters. And by animal encounters, I mean like if you have an unusual encounter with wildlife. Like one of you last week or the week before was talking about a fox, and the fox that just came out of nowhere and stood there and stayed with you for a period of time. Or perhaps a bird. Like I've had fox, I've had a bird, which I believe was my father, not a deceased pet, because all souls on the other side are capable of this. We work with animals because it's a little bit easier. For whatever reason, we're a little bit less doubtful of animals. But it can be any kind of animal that you might have had an encounter with that is out of the ordinary, something that sticks out to you, whether it's a cardinal that's knocking on the glass, whether it is a hummingbird that keeps coming back every morning at the same time. And I kind of built birds and butterflies and flying insects into that, but it could also be what I call drop-in visits. And that's where your animal companion will visit you through the eyes of another. They send other animals are like messengers for them. I think it goes a little bit deeper than that, but as new people join the channel, sometimes we go way down the rabbit hole. We don't have to, but sometimes we do. Drop-in souls are where the energy from your animal companion, another animal says, okay, come on in, and you see through my eyes. And the first time that I experienced this was with a horse, and it was a beautiful cat. I'm trying to remember, I think the cat's name was Stinky, but I could be wrong about that. And I was with a student, a Reiki student, and we went to visit with horses. And the student began to get very emotional because looking at the horse into the horse's eyes, she saw her cat. And it happens all the time. So they may, through another animal, it does not have to be the same species, they may visit you through them, and you may see their soul and you may see their spirit in another animal's eyes. You may see a similar behavior. I don't want to get past Donna. I'll come back to your question. Is there a specific way you meditate? I will come back to that. We may have to do an episode on that because I can teach you how to meditate. I taught myself how to meditate. So let's see. They may have, there'll be another animal that may have behaviors or appearance, even mannerisms. I've often talked about gypsy, how I am so certain. And I don't know if that it's a form of reincarnation or that gypsy has simply assimilated the energy of my other 3 dogs, but she has taken on behaviors of all 3 of them. And she's not the same dog that she was when I rescued her. She has something has shifted within her, and I can see all 3 of my dogs in her at any given time. And I believe I think that's the best way to explain it, that she assimilates their energy. And anyway, it could just be some kind of behavior, something, and does not have to be the same species. It can be any other animal that reminds you and that sticks out. So it's not, I mean, it's going to be obvious. It's going to be apparent to you, and you're going to see that. Any unusual encounters with wildlife also. Amazing encounters with wildlife, things that you don't normally expect to see that make you go, if you have to say to yourself, I wonder if that was my dog, then it was, because that's what it's meant to do, catch your attention. So let me check comments real quick before we move on to the next one. Kim says, yeah, being present. How about a squirrel that stares at you through the window every day? 100%. There's no question about it, Becky. No question about it. The same animal, if it catches your attention like that, then the answer is yes. And all you have to do is foster that relationship. And it will always be. The robin that pooped on your front door and now has a nest. Any unusual anything, because that's how they can use the energy. They don't have a physical body anymore, but they're able to access that energy and get our attention through it. So absolutely 100% yes. When I think about the fox, and I always chalked it up to Reiki, and now that I think back on this, as I talked about the fox, I had a fox that came out of the woods when I opened my car door and sat there at my car door, and he did have a weepy eye. And he sat with me for a good 10 minutes, and I didn't get out of the car because I just didn't want to break the magic of the moment. And then he did run back into the woods, and I can't say that I saw that particular fox again. But now that I think about it, why would the fox come up to my car door of all things? It wasn't even out in the woods. It was in my car door. So any animal experience like that strikes you as out of the ordinary is an animal companion trying to get through to you. It often happens with other animals. Birds are really good at squirrels. I hear squirrels all the time. I know I have a squirrel that also comes to the tree outside here. I also chalk that up to my dad, who loved both birds and squirrels, and I know comes to visit me through birds and squirrels. Birds, squirrels, other flying insects, dragonflies, butterflies, praying mantis. I've had the incredible experiences with praying mantis. A katydid, this beautiful green, I assume it was a katydid, I don't know 100% certain, this beautiful green bug that was in my bedroom I have no idea where she came from, that I know had to be Lucy. She was Lucy as I talked to her. So it can be spotting a bird, a butterfly at a significant moment in a special place, or something out of the ordinary where you recognize that robin again and again and again. Then the answer is yes. Elaine and anyone else here in the chat. So for this video, I am going to go back and forth between the chat and my notes. Have you heard or seen your pet bridge either a few days or a day before the transition? Okay, interesting, Kim. I call that visiting. There was another word I used for it too. I just used it. that they explore, they visit. I think that's what you mean by bridge, but where Lucy did it. Lucy did it for a whole weekend. Um, and sometimes it's back and forth. And it was Jake, as I was explaining. I was teaching the class on how to become an end of life pet doula. And we talked about Jake. And what Jake did was dig a hole, and he would go sleep. Sleep. He would go into the hole and be gone. He would go somewhere. Uh, until we experience it, we don't know exactly where that is, but his energy would leave his body. He was still breathing. He still had respiration. He still had a heartbeat. If you touched him, he came right back into his body, but he would lay in that hole for hours at a time. And I call it exploring, like they were testing the waters. That's what I said. That he was out there testing the waters on the other side of the veil, and he would go back and forth. For Lucy, it was a whole weekend. It was in March of 2020. She didn't pass until August, but there was a weekend in March where we thought it was going to be, where I was going to help her transition. But she was, I called it in a coma because I had no better words for it. And she was not present with us whatsoever. She still had all of her bodily functions, but she was off somewhere. So I think that's what you mean by bridge, Kim. Little girl barely started to aimlessly pace around your apartment and look up. Oh yeah, yep. That's another example of it, where they are there. This is another thing to help people work through some of the grief, is that when our animal companions cross, there is always somebody there waiting for them. They're not ever alone, not ever, ever, ever alone. And this is the same thing for people as animals, same exact thing. Sometimes you'll have people, I'll talk about my dad because that's the best example I have, who would talk to his old army buddies. It was only days before he had passed, and he was talking to all of his old friends that he had been in the army with who had all passed. And the same thing happens with our animal companions. They're not ever, ever, ever alone. There's always a person or another animal or both over there waiting for them. And sometimes it depends on I don't ever try, I try not to weave religious things in here, but people have different beliefs, and I respect all of those because they all get us to the same place, same mountain, different paths. They all get us there. Angels may be waiting for your animal companion, but just know that your animal companion never crosses alone. And if they there's all kinds of things we can talk about that are off the topic about cats, because cats like to wander around. Cats like to hide. Cats, many cats, their crossing is very private, and they will sometimes disappear. They'll either hide in a closet, down a basement, under the porch, or they sometimes just go. But anyhow, that's a different topic. All right, so we have birds, butterflies, dragonflies that'll just come out of nowhere, butterflies that will land on you, dragonflies that will land on you, a bird who comes right to your feet. All of those things are signs. Then I mentioned feathers. Feathers are a beautiful one. Feathers. I mentioned I've got so many feathers that it boggles my mind when I see how many feathers Winston has sent me. But it's wonderful. It's just so wonderful because I know every time that Winston sends me a feather, it's a little message from him reminding me that he's around and that he loves me as much as I loved him. And someday we're going to be together again. Someday we're all going to be together again. And I love that. So a feather suddenly appearing in your path, feathers coming unexpected places, feathers coming when you ask for them. If you just ask for a feather and then watch where the feather comes in. I mean, just watch. You ask for the feather and watch it appear for you. I'm looking at some notes here. Benny kept looking at things that weren't there high on the wall. They tend to look up. They do tend to look up. And even in life, after a pet crosses, especially if you've got other animal companions in the home, they I'm trying to find the right words for it. They see, it's like they know that their energy is still there, and you'll see them looking at nothing. Well, presumably nothing. But they all have different spectrums of vision, different spectrums of hearing. They may hear their animal companions. They may see their animal companions. And they usually, uh, animals who share the home will often experience the same grief as their humans at the physical loss, but they come back. They recover from that very, very quickly. Where we people tend to hang on to that emotion because we also carry guilt about it. The other animals who shared our home, they feel the loss and the grief. They recover from it quicker because they don't carry the guilt. They don't carry guilt. That's just another word of comfort for people who worry if their animal companions feel that too. Let's talk about rainbows. A great book to listen to, read to, is Angelic Attendants by Julie Ryan. Oh, cool. Awesome. I love all those kinds of books too. So I always love good recommendations like that. Okay, rainbows. Rainbows are just one of the most amazing natural signs that our animal companions will ever send. I have seen rainbows more often, not as often as feathers, but for more animals than I can count, rainbows immediately following their transition. It happened for Jack. Not Jack. It happened for Lucy. It happened for Winston. Um, it was not. Jack passed in December, and there were no rainbows. Winston and Lucy, it was August. They each had a rainbow. Annie had a rainbow. Jake had a rainbow. I have pictures of people send me pictures of the rainbows they saw right after their animal companion crossed. They're just beautiful. And they come out of nowhere. And Lucy's rainbow, I live in a condo building. Lucy's rainbow was directly over the entire building. How does that happen? How does that happen? Annie lived up in the mountains, and I was not only there for her transition, but I volunteered to take her with me to the pet funeral home. And as we're driving down the mountain, there's the rainbow was just right there over the road that went over the mountains. And by the time I got down the mountain, Annie's mama had sent me the same picture. So beautiful, beautiful signs. Let the rainbow, when you get these signs, let it fill your heart with love and gratitude. Turning grief into gratitude using gratitude to transition out of grief. Sometimes we can't, our heart is broken into 1,000 little pieces, and it's hard for us to recover from that, or to think that we'll ever be whole again. But when you see that rainbow and allow yourself just to remember how wonderful the time was with them, and just let gratitude take the place of all that sadness. And that's what rainbows do for me. They have long been symbols of connection. There's probably books written about rainbows and all of the connection that we have from them. So not just interpreted as a sign, know that rainbows are a sign that your animal companion is connecting with you. Okay, let's move on to unusual weather patterns. These are fun ones too. Unusual weather patterns. Sorry, I'm reading the comments. Next level soul. Unusual weather patterns, like I had one scribbled down in my notes when I was doing this earlier today, but now it's not here. Unusual weather patterns, like a gentle breeze that comes out of nowhere, a brief rain shower, like the sun is shining and all of a sudden there's a rain shower, or like the day I think I was on one of these live streams when out of nowhere it started to snow. Out of nowhere, there's not a cloud in the sky, and there's a small blizzard going on outside my window. Any unusual weather patterns, a breeze, rain, a ray of sunshine that like comes through the window and hits you in the eye, or just something that gets your attention, an immediate attention grabber. That's how you know that it's really a sign, because they do everything they possibly can to get your attention. A ray of sunshine breaking through the clouds. What were some other ones? A shooting star. That was one. Shooting star. Oh boy, I can't remember the name of the pet's name off the top of my head, but it was one of my veterinarians. I'm sorry, Lou. I can't remember. All of a sudden, I can't remember his name. But there was a shooting star. when she reached out to me to say that I've never gotten a sign. And I said, look all around you. Just ask him to send you a sign right now. And she texted me not 15 minutes later to say that her and her partner were driving down the road and the most brilliant shooting star they've ever seen went right across in front of them in the car, and she knew that it was her dog. Darn, what was that other one besides shooting stars? Shooting stars, a gentle breeze, snow, rain. It's gone. If it comes back to me, I'll share it. But anything that catches your attention from weather is also a sign. Always had a thing for drawing colorful rainbows. Get many images of black kittens on social media. Oh, Jess, that is now we haven't got there yet, and I do want to talk about technology. And I'm just keeping an eye on the time as I do this as well, and make myself a note so I don't forget to talk about technology. That those are all signs. When you see again and again and again that little black kitten every time you flip open your laptop or every time you turn on your cell phone, that is a sign. It can't not be a sign. It's all connected, and they will use anything they can, including technology, to get through to us. But I'll come back to that in a minute. Unusual weather patterns. Flowers and plants. That's another one that I like. Flowers and plants. For example, today, as I was walking down the street, and it's the season for irises. And as I'm walking down, and I wrote this down, I think for Toby. I'll have to go back and double check this for sure. There was the most unusual purple iris that I've ever seen. Now, irises come in all kinds of colors. They come in blue, they come in purple, they come in white, and then some of them are even like a dark, almost purpley black color. But this was the most brilliant purple. I've never seen anything like it. So it immediately got my attention. And I thought, okay, so I wrote it down. That is something that caught my attention, and I trust it now. I trust and recognize when things out of the ordinary present themselves to me, it has meaning, and it's not just random. And we have wonderful lives full of all of these things that most people disregard. And once you can learn to recognize them, it changes everything. So discovering flowers or plants in bloom that you might not normally, or in a place where you used to, maybe that if there was a park or a dog park or a lake or someplace where you'd always go, and then all of a sudden you're seeing this beautiful bunch of flowers where your dog used to love to lay down, or that's a sign as well. You can absolutely have a sign. I'm going to tell you one more thing, but give me a second here. If you went to a particular garden or park, and then see them, if you receive, as you were to look at something like that, let's just say you had a favorite little spot, a favorite little garden that you like to go to, or a favorite little dog park or wherever. And you went there and you saw some beautiful flowers, and it filled you with a sense of comfort. That's how you know. When it fills you, if it catches your attention like that flower did for me, or it fills, or it just gives you just such a sense of peace and calm. If you're sitting on a chair on your front porch and all of a sudden there's a gentle breeze, and that gentle breeze just fills you with a calmness and a peace and a quietness and solace, then yeah, that's it. That's how you know. That's how you know that it's a sign from your animal companion. I'm going to look at Marion. Hi, Marion. The day my cat transitioned, saw the most beautiful figure of an angel in the clouds. So that's the next thing that I was going to talk about. Oh, no. Oh, that's what I'm forgetting. Clouds. Thank you for the unusual weather patterns. Look up into the clouds. I've got pictures that people send me of their pet in the clouds that you cannot mistake. There's no mistaking it. I've seen a beautiful angel in the clouds. I've seen just amazing things, heart shapes in clouds. Look to the skies, look to the clouds, look to the stars. That's where you'll see signs as well. So thank you. Thank you very much, Marion, for pointing out the angel in the cloud formation. You just know. And if you have to ask yourself, then the answer is yes. If you just know, then the answer is yes. If you are overcome with the most wonderful feeling of comfort, yes. They are all signs. Rocks and stones. Here's another one. Rocks and stones. Heart-shaped stone. I had this happen all the time too. Heart-shaped stones. Very specific color stones. Usually it's the heart-shaped stones. Anything with a unique marking. I'll use the example recently. This didn't happen on a stone, but I'll give you an example of it. There was someone who was receiving a sign from their animal companions that was this dark, odd-shaped heart, and it was black, and it was showing up everywhere. If you were to suddenly see that same shape on a rock, then you would know that's a sign. So things that come through rocks and stones are also, especially if you find it in a place where you guys used to frequent, then you know. Some other things that may happen. I'm going to talk specifically about cats right now. And I would love to know from any of you who have had a cat if this has happened for you. You know how cats sometimes bring little presents because that's what they do. It's cat behavior. If your cat is an outdoor cat, they capture little things and they bring them home. Sometimes they bring them to you. Sometimes they bring them to your neighbors. But they bring these little things home. And if you have suddenly started to receive little presents, even though your cat is on the other side, that's another sign. And I consider that a sign from nature, but you may not. But I consider it a sign from nature that you might get from your animal companion. And let's see, was there anything else? I think that was about it. So let me, it was her. Oh, Kim. Yep, you got it. Marion, it was definitely her. And I'm just going to see if there's anything else I want to see. Okay, so I better not find a mouse. That's kind of what I was talking about. A cat that brings, sometimes they bring bugs, sometimes they bring little critters. Yeah. It's just funny. But so if you still see that, after a fresh snowfall, 2 perfect hearts, that's we have to look for all that stuff. The snow is a wonderful way to see signs in nature. You guys know the story about Jack, and that's not a nature sign other than call of nature. When he would do his little street art, and we came out the next morning, and there it was. There are so many other kinds of signs, and I'll probably devote another episode to even more signs. This just happened to be signs in nature, but there can be so many signs, like the last one I'm going to talk about, because somebody asked me about it after I said I was going to talk about nature, and that was technology. And if I think about technology and tie it to nature, because it's just become such a part of everything that we do in this world, technology. So by technology, I mean whether it is electricity, your television, your computer, your cell phone, any kind of electronic device. There is an easy way for animals to access that. It's all the field of energy. We talked before about the fact that there are, if you think of all the television stations, all the radio stations, every single laptop that's connected to where all this information is floating. And I'm just putting it, I'm going like that because it's just floating out in this air, in this space that's not empty space. Our air is filled with information. Our animals can access that energy. So a couple of stories that I have had people share with me anecdotally is turning on the TV and changing a channel only to have a fuzzy screen. And on the fuzzy screen they can see the image of their dog. If the lights flicker, if a fan suddenly goes on, anything like that is a sign that your animal companion is using their energy. Their energy is present and they're accessing through your electronics. If anybody has ever listened to Abraham Hicks is someone, her name is Esther Hicks, who channels a series of souls that she calls Abraham, the souls who are on the other side, who come to share beautiful information that helps us to improve our lives here on planet Earth. And she talks about how when her husband crossed and the electronic signals that would come through all the time, that she would always receive, radios would start to play, or a stereo started to play, or your favorite, a song that you shared with them comes on the radio. A song that was going through your mind on the day they passed comes on the radio. a TV show comes on that's about your kind of cat. What all of those things are the way that technology, or you open up your cell phone and right away you see a picture of a little black cat. There are all kinds of ways that through technology that our animal companions get through to us too. So a couple more comments. Cat, not car. I had a car named Miss Thing. Oh, that's cute. Okay. But hey, some of us have really good relationships with our cars too. 3 days after my cat passed away, out of a rat appeared inside the house. Okay, thanks, Marion. I know that I wasn't crazy about that one. That all of a sudden you start seeing little gifts that cats use, that your cat used to bring you before. Just says her stereo came on by itself. 100%, and the same song would play. Oh, good. Not on this earth. Fantastic. That's the kind of thing you want to look for. You cannot ignore them. Now, what I would also suggest is that you get yourself a little journal. And I don't have one handy here, but I've got these little books everywhere. I write in my regular. I used up the last page, which is why I don't have it with me now. Just a regular old spiral bound book that I picked up cheap in the grocery store. You can have it. I have a journal that's also full. All the pages have been used, but if you want to, like if it's something really cool that you want to get like that, but this one's now full, or you get a little book, whatever. Get yourself a little notebook where you can jot these things down. Jot the things down. You can write the date. You can write what you saw. A lot of time. Oh, the other way, signs. I could go on with signs about forever. Angelic signs, like angel numbers that came through for both Toby and Angel. We're going to start their readings in just a minute. But I would start to write this stuff down so that you can go back and remember the things that have come through for you. Because the more you remember them, the more you write them down, the more you recall them, the more often they're going to happen, and the more you're going to begin to trust them. And then you can have an ongoing relationship with your animal companions, even though they've left their physical body. It doesn't have to be the end of your relationship with them. And we've talked more before, and we'll talk again, I'm sure, about reincarnation and all that kind of thing. But know that they're there for you whenever you need them, in whatever form you need them. We just need to focus and become aware and notice the things that are coming through from nature, and you'll start to get your signs. Okay, so let's talk about our readings right now. Okay. Now, I will be perfectly honest, and maybe this is more. Toby, of the two, I had two little animal companions, two little dogs that I wanted to connect with today, and I sit down and I close my eyes. I do a little meditation. I tell myself that I am totally devoted to you, and I ask for Toby, and then I ask for Angel, and I ask for some evidence to show their human companion, and then I write it all down. I'm still. It's not that I haven't got the hang of it, because I've done so many of these now that I love talking to all of your animal companions. I love getting these messages, but Toby and Angel, for whatever reason, seem to be talking to me at the same time, if that makes any sense. Like I couldn't distinguish one from the other. So what I'm going to do is just read for you. I always do this unfiltered. I do not hold anything back. So whatever, if it makes sense, it makes sense. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I would love, I think if Joe is still on here, we have Joe and Kimberly, right? Yes, Kim, who are here for Toby, and then it was Colleen who's here for Angel. Just tell me which, if anything, makes sense for you from them. If we can try to separate the two out. I just got a sense that a lot of it came from Toby. That Toby of the two was the more talkative, but there were some very specific things that did come through from each of them. But I just want to put that out there, that they really seemed together. Okay, all right, Joe. Here we go. The first thing that came for me was the song. I knew you were coming, so I baked a cake. I knew you were coming, so I baked a cake. Don't know where that came from. Again, I give it to you all unfiltered. And also, I had a visual of of um, of a chef hat and a little spoon, like a costume, some kind of costume, a Halloween costume, a dress up, and then that purple iris. I wrote it down because I always take signs like that. I have no idea the meaning behind any of those things. It was not clear. So this is when I was asking for specific evidence. Iris and the color purple. I also did get the sound of heavy equipment. Um, I just got a sense that, and I don't know how either of these little doggies passed. I know what each of them looked like. Toby's a little toy poodle. I'm pretty sure that's right, Joe, right? Beautiful. I mean, I could just picture Toby sitting in my lap. And anyway, the sound of heavy equipment and a dead car battery. And I mean that by the sound. Um, like, um, 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 like when you're turning over a car, that's the sound that I kept getting in my head as I was doing it. And then a doggy bakery, something about a doggy bakery, that they used to go to a doggy bakery and love the doggy bakery. And then the number 9 popped into my head. So I'm not quite sure what was up with the number 9, but I got the number 9. Also, something about an airport or an airplane started to come through. There was also lots of chatter. So this was lots of chatter, and that everyone was speaking at once, and that it was almost like if we were to have a person or a child who is on the autism spectrum, and everything was making all the noise at once. And I'm getting this sense now, not just the chatter, but everything. There was a lot of noise between the equipment, the car battery, that there was some kind of like sensory overload, is what I'm getting from our little Toby, and everybody speaking at once. Um, a folding, what did I write here? A folding closet door. Does that make any sense to you guys? I could picture it. I could picture it in my mind like one of those metal, like white metal doors that opens and closes. You could see like a crack as you pulled it open. And did he get stuck in there in some way? I don't know. Then this is the other thing. So this is specifically from Toby. What's bubbling up? That's what I wrote down here. What's bubbling up? Don't push it down. So there's something. There is either not a subject, like there's something going on, or there's something that you've been ignoring, or something that you've been hoping would go away, or it keeps popping back up for you. I don't know what this is, but this is just the sense I'm getting, that it's something that keeps popping up, and you keep pushing it away. It's time to bring that out into the open and really look at it. That whatever it is, whatever this topic is, it's time to really look at it, really examine it, because that's the only way the solution is going to present itself. The more you keep pushing this thing away, this is what Toby wants you to know. I don't know what any of that means, but the more you push it away, the harder it will be to get to the solution. So bring it out and examine it. And then the last thing that was specifically from Toby was that the dark times are over. The dark times are over. There was no pain. There was absolutely no pain when Toby crossed. And this is part of that testing the waters kind of thing. This is difficult to describe as well, but I get the sense from all the animals, even like Hunter, who was in a really significant amount of arthritic pain at the very end. Even Jake, who's the pain from the kidney disease was fairly intense, that their pain gets taken away. Towards the end, there is no pain. There is no pain. There's no pain. Dark times are over. I did write down here again that you felt Toby pass through you. He felt you pass through him. They feel it too. So not only do we feel them passing through us, they they feel themselves as they come through us. He says it was the most beautiful feeling he has ever had, was that feeling of being part of you, like passing right into your body. And for him, it was the most beautiful feeling. I'm just going to check. Okay, I'm just seeing if there was anything else that that made sense to you guys. And then what I got the sense of specifically from Angel. So I don't know which of those things. I honestly don't. I can't separate which was from Toby and which was from Angel, other except until that last little part, because I both felt like they were together. Angel specifically gave me the number 1111, 1111. Now, angel numbers are another way that we can get signs from our animal companions, and 1111 is specifically an angel number. That's all about angels. So isn't it interesting that Angel shared that number? I wrote it down it's just one. I just saw these 4 slashes. That for Angel, that there's a series of synchronicities that are bringing you to another pet. So this is for Colleen specifically. A series of synchronicities are bringing you to another pet, and that you are now a better pet parent for what you've been through with Angel. Angel's little dachshund. Why is that? So Joe and Kim, if you can tell me, Kimberly and Joe, if there's anything at all that has to do with the dachshund, why are they so closely related? Usually I can well, I've done multiple readings. I've done 2 or 3 readings at a time, and they're not ever like intertwined like this. So I wonder if there's not some kind of connection there between this little dachshund and Toby that they're trying to get me to give you. But series of synchronicities bringing you to another pet. You're a much better pet parent after what you've had to been through with Angel, and that Angel's mama is an empath. And by empath, it means that you feel the emotions so intensely that it's almost difficult to move, to do anything when you start to feel. Animal empaths in particular, those who feel the energy of the emotions of animals, it makes it very hard to do things, to think about animals that have been through abuse, to think of animals who are in captivity, those kinds of things. But it's about your relationship with nature. This ties directly into the signs from nature. I wrote pseudo relationship. I don't know what that means. But it comes into my mind. Pseudo relationship. No more heavy lifting. You've been doing all the work, whatever that is. You've been doing it all, and it's time for you to ask for help. It's okay to receive help for whatever it is that you're looking for, that you no longer need to do all the heavy lifting. This is not a burden that you need to carry all by yourself. Okay. So that's what I have for this evening. And if there's any questions or anything that comes up, Toby was a yapper at times. Oh, darn. His feet were behind his food was behind the folding door. I forgot all about the yapper. Not only a yapper did that come through, not only the yapper, but that Toby was a possessive yapper. Like Toby looked like a very sweet little doggy, but don't take his stuff, or don't touch his stuff. Toby's were Toby's. That was the other thing that did come through specifically from Toby. But his treats were behind the folding door. Okay, that's like I could see this, like the kind of door that I can't describe it, but I'm sure you know what I mean. On the folding door for the pantry. Okay, if any other questions come up, he was possessive of his mommy. Oh, there you go. Mom was all mine. Okay, any other questions, any other thoughts come up, don't hesitate to reach out and let me know if there's anything that you want to share. Go ahead and send me an email after. And I think that's it for now. So for next week, Memorial Day, Monday, probably not a live stream. It'll be something pre-recorded. I'll still do readings, and we'll go from there. So for now, thank you guys for joining me. I love hooking up with you guys on Monday nights. It's so much fun. And I will see you next time. Take care, everybody. Bye. You're welcome. Goodbye. Hold on, it's not letting me end. Hopefully this is end. Yep, there we go. Bye.